Hey guys, today I'm reacting to Manson. Weird name. But this guy actually wrote a book. He's like an author. But this is the first part of my series of sort of debunking these gurus or self-development people, or basically people who are into life coaching and stuff like that. Because I think I was caught up in this phase a few years back. And yeah, it's crucial to look at the message that these people send out, because most of the people are being fed their spiritual sort of juices from these kind of gurus, and there is no substance in it. So let's look at the video, how to find your purpose, in 14 minutes.
What the hell is purpose? Why does it matter? Where are we going? Why are we here? I can't feel my legs. Purpose. Purpose is a concept that's often misunderstood. I find that a lot of people email me about purpose. They come to me with questions about what their meaning in life is, how do they find their one true calling, or how they get a greater sense of meaning through their actions. And I want to start this course off by just getting very, very clear about what purpose is and why it's important.
It's also important to realize that a lot of the ideas that these people promote are anti-Islamic. For example, there is no purpose, that he's gonna allude to. So just be careful if you ever find yourself being attracted to these gurus.
Let's start with what it is. I'm gonna be honest with you for a second. This is Mark being vulnerable. This is me making a confession. I fucking hate the term purpose. I hate the question, how do I find my purpose? It even hurts me a little bit to create a course with this as a title, but what people are referring to when they talk about purpose is so important and it is so meaningful that, I just suck it up and deal with it. But why do I hate the term purpose? Well, I hate the term purpose because ultimately purpose is just something you make up in your head.
So this is crucial, what he said. Purpose is something you make up in your head. That's true if you're talking about subjective purpose, like I want to build a business, I want to be this sports guy or something like that. But ultimately we're talking about the meaning of your life. Is there a goal to your existence? So I want to see if he answers that.
It's essentially deciding that something is important and then doing it because you feel it's important. So in that sense, you can literally find purpose anywhere. I could find purpose in doing the dishes. I could find purpose in taking out the trash.
Yeah, that's all of those are examples of purpose, but we're talking about your existence again. So you're talking about like achieving a goal that has a purpose. So like cleaning a toilet, that is a purpose for it, but it doesn't relate to your life at all.
I could find purpose in laying in bed and watching Netflix all day, if I choose to. It's the subjectivity and the complete arbitrariness of this idea of purpose that drives me a little bit crazy. What I find is that when people are asking questions about purpose or searching for purpose, really what they're asking is, I want to find an important use of my time. I want to spend my life doing something that feels meaningful. I want to do something that feels important, that I can be proud of.
Not really. Maybe for the people who are signing up for your course, but the question really is about, does my life even matter at the grand scale of things? Is this entire universe pointless, or is there a purpose behind the creation? What about that? Those kind of questions. How did we get here? What happens when we die? It's not really related to, well, I want to do something meaningful. Yes, on a micro level, like down on this earthly level.
And so that's a very different question than this like cosmic purpose out there that's going to solve all of your problems. It's important that people find meaningful activities to spend their time doing. And the reason this is important is because a lot of the low-level tactical stuff that people come to personal development for are actually solved by this purpose question. For example, a lot of people struggle with motivation. They look up tips on how to be more motivated at work and how to be more productive and how to get up earlier and how to get the 8 things done on their to-do list. Well, there are a lot of little tactics and strategies that you can implement to be more productive, but if you hate your job and you think it's completely pointless, then none of those tactics and strategies are going to matter long term.
Well, there's even another layer. What if you love your job, but you really don't have meaning in your life? I'm an entrepreneur, I'm successful, and I didn't enjoy it. What then? Because you're trying to say that spiritually, we don't have a need. So basically, it's all about basically doing these tasks like robots, like going to having a great job or cleaning out toilet or maybe something like that. But as you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once you achieve those basic needs like food, shelter, then you have these community needs and all that. Let's say you achieve that, well then, and then you have like a professional need and stuff like that. But then there's this transcendental need. That's the number one need, and that can only be achieved through religion or through like spiritual practices. So I still haven't seen you trying to solve that. You're trying to solve this transcendental need through these low level needs. So it's kind of strange.
Whereas if you love your job and you think the work you're doing is extremely important, then a lot of that tactical stuff about motivation isn't going to matter. Like, you're going to be excited to get up each day and work on it. Similarly, people look for little tactics and strategies to optimize their relationships, to have better friendships, to network better, to bring more intimacy into the relationships that they have with other people.
All these questions about motivation, intimacy, optimizing your time, this is useless because those are just symptoms of a larger issue. And you're tying it back to not having a meaningful job, let's say. I'm tying it back to not having meaningful life. So if you solve that, everything else will follow. If you just solve the career or the job, it's not gonna matter long term, because there are people who are successful in their jobs and they're still miserable.
Well, sure, there are little things you can do. You know, there are like little lines you can text the people to check in or ask them how they feel about certain topics to generate a little bit more intimacy. I mean, yeah, there's all these little things that benefit you at the margin. But ultimately, the thing that matters in relationships is having a shared sense of purpose, having shared values, having shared goals and visions and dreams and worldviews. That's what binds people together. So if you haven't figured out the purpose question or the what do I find important in life question.
But that's not the question, what do I find important in life question. You're still trying to achieve it through this earthly perspective. We're trying to figure out the life itself. How did it get here? How did the first cell get here? What about the Big Bang? This is the purpose I'm looking for, not your life here and figuring out what my goal is in society. That's not that doesn't matter that much, as if I figure out the entire purpose of my life, I can be a car mechanic and I can still be happy because I'm achieving the purpose. But if I don't have that, then I can be the best banker in the city, but empty. So
then relationships, developing that intimacy in relationships is going to be a problem. So for all these reasons, the question of purpose is actually extremely practical. It's just that this question of purpose gets completely butchered in most of the self-help world. Purpose is seen as this cosmic meaning, this predetermined universal destiny that each one of us has. And that if we just find that one sense of purpose or meaning, then everything kind of falls into place and we never have these cosmic questions ever again. That's just not true.
No, it is true. It is true, dude. You're lying. There is an ultimate purpose to your existence. And there is a thing that when you find it, it will answer all of your questions. And that thing is Islam. It answers where you came from, what happens when you die, how does that gonna look like, what's the purpose of your life here, how to live your life, how to get married, how to do business, how to raise a family, how to do transactions. Everything is there laid out. So that's actually very clear if you look for it, and it's based on the truth. It's based on the true revelation of the Quran. So you just have to scrutinize the Quran then and see if it's true. If it's true, then everything Islam says is true as well. So dude, there is this cosmic purpose, and if you saying this is stupid, you're creating so much problems within society by this statement, because people then realize, oh, there's no purpose to my existence, so I'll just come up with something. That's what made me depressed. Looking at these self-development gurus, it's like the cancer going through your body, like, because they implant ideas in your head which are not true.
Purpose is an ongoing creation. It's not something you find. You're not like looking under a rock like, oh, there's my purpose. So glad I found it. No, purpose is something that you create and you maintain, and sometimes you lose and you have to go create it again.
That's exactly what he's saying. If you live in the materialistic worldview like he does, he doesn't acknowledge the spiritual or the anything above the creation, then of course the purpose can be only something you define. And so when you look for it, let's say I had a purpose of starting a business, I achieved that purpose, but then I'm empty again, so I have to come up with a new purpose and always reinvent myself. And that's fine, but overall this doesn't lead to ultimate contentment and happiness and purpose and stuff like that. It's just kind of cheating life. This is Nietzsche's idea, to create your purpose, because you can't go living your life without any purpose, because everything has purpose in this universe. So even human beings must have some purpose. Even there is no purpose, ultimately, cosmically speaking, you must create it. So artificially you try to fake yourself to have a purpose for, I don't know, being the best, driver or whatever, sportsman. But ultimately you know it doesn't matter, but you still do it because you need to live your life. And you can't if you don't have those goals. That's such a shallow existence. That's why I'm saying remove the material world, try to transcend it and discover the complete depth of your existence, which is only possible in Islam. Check it out.
Now, the truth isn't nearly as sexy or marketable as, the cosmic meaning definition of purpose, but it's actually more helpful. I think it's very important to understand a few things about purpose before we start to dive in to the question of how do we create purpose for ourselves. So the first myth that I see out there, or the first mistake that I see a lot of people make, is this idea that there's a single purpose for each of us. It's just not true. It's not true at all.
There is a single purpose for each of us. There is the purpose generally for human beings. Everybody has the same purpose. The purpose, do you want to hear it? Are you ready? The purpose is to recognize God. That's your purpose. Once you do that and you recognize God by doing your prayers, by giving in charity, by doing good things in your life, that's how you get closer to God. That's how you build a relationship with Him. You feel this immense bond, which is impossible to feel without God. And that's your purpose, so that He can build then relationship with you after your death in heaven. Simple. Everybody can follow that. Now, on top of that, yes, you can be an engineer, you can be a doctor, you can do sports, but ultimately your purpose is something else. This is just your earthly purpose that you've discovered. But
if you can find meaning or feel that you're using your time well doing many things, it's picking your kid up from school can feel like it has a lot of meaning and purpose, and then you go back to work and that feels like it has a lot of meaning and purpose, and then you call your dad and watch the basketball game together, and that feels like it has a lot of meaning and purpose.
It's such a shallow level of purpose that if you live your life in that linear purpose, kind of like just this, calling people, living your life normal, then you will never feel the fulfillment. This is really the problem with our society. We cannot achieve the transcendental purpose, which there is, and Eastern societies could achieve that. But we just don't reflect on our creation that much. We live in this material world too much.
And then you get into bed and relax with your partner, and that feels like it has a lot of meaning and purpose. So meaning and purpose, it comes from a lot of different areas of our life. And I would even argue that it's healthy to diversify our sense of purpose throughout our life. If you're only getting purpose and meaning from one thing, and then that thing is taken from you, well, then you're...
That's why you create a foundational purpose that's beyond your death, so that anytime you feel like you're lacking, or anytime you feel not motivated, whatever you might feel as a human being, you understand the big picture of your existence and what you're trying to achieve. There's a goal for your life and death, and that keeps pushing you, because that thing can never leave. You would have to die. So until you die, you will always have this goal of achieving good moral things in this life, so that I can have the reward in the next. And there's nothing that can break that, because you will forever have this until you live in this world. He's talking about these made-up purposes, which are gone quickly, and I know that because I've been an atheist like he is. So simple. Let's say you have 10 purposes. You have your kids, you have your career, you're taking care of your parents or whatever, and then one of these things goes away, so your career left out. So you have these other purposes to focus on. Dude, what are you talking about? Again, you're just putting tasks in front of a human being, trying to achieve them, but to what end? That's the question. To what end should I raise my family or take care of this? Or Is there another reason?
So this idea that we have one true calling in the world is bullshit. And it's usually something made up by other people long after you've actually lived it. Like, we can look back today and say that Winston Churchill's purpose was defeating Adolf Hitler in World War II. But if you were actually Winston Churchill living his life, you had many, many sources of purpose, and you had many, many things happen throughout your life that felt extremely meaningful before you even got to World War II. This idea that people have this singular purpose on Earth and have a singular role in humanity, it's just bullshit. It's another version of the narrative fallacy in psychology. The idea that it's very easy to construct a simple narrative looking backwards in time, but in the present, everything is ambiguous and uncertain. Now, the second mistake I see a lot around the idea of purpose is that it is a static, constant thing throughout our lives. That you find that one thing you care about and boom, like the next 50 years until the day you die, that's what you're all about. Now, this happens to some people, but I think they are actually the exception. I think what's actually more common is that your purpose changes and evolves through time. What matters and feels very important to you at 20 is different from what matters and feels important to you at 30, and is again different than what matters and feels important at 40.
Exactly, this is a typical Western materialistic worldview, but in Islam you still have that purpose from your birth till you die, throughout your life, as an adolescent, as a productive person, as an older person. You will always find purpose in Islam. So again, he's just not educated enough on this. Like, I feel kind of bad.
Purpose is essentially the feeling that you are spending your time well and that your challenges are meaningful.
Purpose is a feeling that you spend your time well and challenges are meaningful. Again, this is a materialistic definition based on the worldview that there is nothing beyond the material physical world. And of course, this level of purpose cannot be anything more than achieving tasks and completing them. So basically, you're an AI. And the thing with humans is we can't live without purpose. So try living your life without purpose. It's impossible. You still have to create it, whether artificially like he does, or you create this grandiose sense of purpose. But there needs to be something. That should tell you that even a human being must have a goal in their life, because it's impossible to live without the goal, without the instruction manual. Like, everything in this universe has a purpose. Everything. A car, this light has a purpose. This bicycle, this computer has a purpose. The birds have a purpose. The trees have a purpose of doing the oxygen. Everything in this universe is designed perfectly with a purpose, but a human being doesn't have a purpose. What is the purpose of a human being then? As the most intelligent, the most evolved animal, let's say. Well, through our intellect to realize that there is a creator. That's the purpose of a human being. Simple. That's why our civilization is in decline, because no one can find this purpose. And it is there, but no one can achieve it, so they made it up. And so if everybody makes up the purpose, think about the society. And there's no moral guideline to it. So everybody can just do whatever they want. Then what's the point of the entire civilization and life? You know, it's very difficult to create a vision for this society. So this idea of doing the audit of your life so you find your sense of purpose is so bad. I've done this many times. I even asked my friends, like, what am I good at? What am I bad at? And then I tried to figure out, like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to achieve this goal in business or something. You're still trying to find the purpose from your own head. You're trying to figure out something that is beyond you. You need help, you need guidance. And this arrogant view is what's causing you to not see the true purpose. This was my video. Let me know what you think about this guy, Mark Manson. We'll do more videos on these gurus in the future because they spread a lot of misinformation. They need to be challenged because essentially they just want to sell you something. Maybe they really believe what they are saying, but it is not true. As you can see, there is a purpose, there is a creator, there is a ultimate source of, and we can talk about why is it like that? Why is the Quran preserved? Why was Muhammad, peace be upon him, the true messenger of God? Why there needs to be the creator for even this universe to exist, because otherwise there would be the dependent, infinite chain of events which never ends, and we know there was a beginning of the universe, therefore there must be an independent being which was the cause of all things. SubhanAllah, all these things can be answered. Let's do it. Let me know what you think about this guy. I'm gonna do a series. I'm gonna do more of these guys. All right, assalamu alaikum. See you in the next video.